right, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, so the red turns orange.
No.
A lighter way of saying it, lack of knowledge of a platform.
I think that might be a harsher way of saying it.
Okay.
The taillights or Tom's taillights?
Shout out, Tom. Yeah, if you've been here for a while on my channel, you probably remember in the very beginning, I did a turbo install on a red FRS. Some may call it orange. Don't call it orange in front of the owner because he is here today and we are doing a year in review on his HKS turboed FRS. This is TJ's car. This is the man himself behind the what was once red FRS, and we are about a year later, correct?
Yep, that's
with
right.
the turbo build. Tell me what exactly is done to it at this point in time and where it stands and how it's been for you.
So what's done to it really hasn't changed since you last worked on it. So of course the HKS turbo kit, you know, the radium catch cans on both sides, bigger injectors.
What size injectors are we running?
They are the Injector Dynamics, the 1050s.
And was that something that was needed for the turbo kit on the install, or do you think
needed for flex fuel, not needed for just flat out the turbo kit. But if you wanted to do E85, that's what it's basically what the tuner recommends.
Nice. Now this is a HKS turbo kit. It's most guys go with like a full-blown motorsports kit, or I believe the other one is a Avo tuning kit, correct?
I've seen that one. Yep.
Avo tuning, full-blown motorsports. HKS is kind of tried and true, and it's JDM, which we all love and we all know. But HKS has been around for years and they build reliable, good quality stuff. And I gotta say, this turbo kit, the install process of it was one of the best I've seen. Everything was straightforward. Even the instructions were all like nicely, perfectly laid out, where to cut, where to run the wires, where to wrap the heat shrink. It was all awesome. It's a beautiful kit. But TJ, how has the car been for you as far as reliability goes?
Beautiful. No issues.
No issues whatsoever?
I mean, well, here, do we have some wood I can knock on?
Yeah. What happened with the red? Why is it now this white and blue? What happened?
So, I mean, it was originally white underneath the wrap, but I got tired of the red, and the red was kind of fading from the Florida sun. Unfortunately, I don't have a garage, so not a whole lot I can do.
So the red turns orange.
No, the gloss red turns matte red is what happens.
Oh, okay.
So I saw something similar to this. Obviously, this is not like, you know, my original thought. It's taken from Advan race cars, basically.
Oh, okay,
it's an old Advan style livery, just with a different color combo I saw in like the blue.
What was the actual car? Was it a GT86 that had a similar livery, or?
So there is one that had it and then moved on to like something else. But as far as the Advan cars, it was actually like older race cars like GTRs and stuff like that.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So carrying on, you got some body stuff going on here. What exactly is going on? It looks like still the factory front bumper, but we got a lip. Go ahead and tell me more about all this.
Sure. So it's a Greddy front lip. I think they call it the G-Racer or Gracer, I don't know how you say it. But it's a Greddy front lip, and then it's TRD side skirts and TRD rear spoiler as well. And the fender, I don't even know what to call those, fender fins or TRD. It's mostly TRD from like here back.
Nice. Even the rear spats, or do you have a
No, the spats are eBay.
eBay?
Yep.
Oh, okay. We're familiar with eBay. And what about the taillights? Taillights are aftermarket too, right?
Taillights are Tom's taillights.
Shout out, Tom. Yeah. And what's the deal with the wheels?
Those are, you're going to love the name of these. They're called the Mach 5 Awesome.
Okay.
And, you know, it's your typical 5-spoke. They're light. They're 17s. That's kind of all I need.
They kind of remind me of the older 5 Ziegen FN01 RCs.
If I recall correctly, you could only have a 5 Ziegen wheel like this in 5x100 if you got like the 17x8 or 17x 7.5 or something like that. So these are 17x9. You get a little bit more wheel. And
these are kind of a weird lug pattern too on the FRS's BRZs, because they're not a typical, like 240SXs are 5x114.
Yep.
A lot of cars are 5x114 is what I'm getting. And these are
5x100.
5x100, right.
Which that's a Subaru thing. You'll have to take it up with them. It's been a Subaru thing, I think. Most WRXs, the older ones, are 5x100. I think the STIs are 5x114.
Okay. And what makes it more difficult about these is the fact that they're rear-wheel drive. They're not all-wheel drive. So the offsets for these are going to be different than most standard Subarus.
I prefer a square setup.
Okay. Especially on something like this.
Yeah, I mean, you can rotate your tires. I don't really see the need for a staggered setup unless you're making a ton of power.
TJ used to be a stance boy.
What am I going to do, deny that?
True.
Yeah.
It happens. Hey, we all grow out of it, though. Maybe. Some of us. Some of us. You know who you are.
There's some stuff that still looks good, but as I've gotten older, it's more just like you don't want to have it be like a pain to enjoy driving your car.
Oh, when did you buy the car new? What were the first upgrades you did?
I got it with 6,000 miles on it. So my theory is that an old guy bought it and thought it wasn't for him, maybe. For the record, it has 114K on it now.
Wow.
So drove it a lot, but it's had, God, I think probably 3 or 4 different exhausts on it before I found out what I wanted. It's had multiple sets of wheels on it, 3 different sets of coilovers.
Oh, geez.
And what it's on now, I actually love. They're called the Race Comp Engineering. I
got your first set of coilovers on.
You do have my first set. So I had the K Sports, which you have now, and then I had BC Racing, which they're okay. It's just I wanted something that was a little bit more like comfortable on the street while still kind of doing the job. For those that don't know, the Race Comp Engineering coilovers, I believe, they start life as like a KW, and then they're customized from there.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay. You don't hear too much about KW anymore. Everyone uses BC Racing nowadays or Fortunato.
I will say what you hear about KW is usually good things.
What were some of the first mods you did to the car, and how did it envelop into turbo?
It started with, I think, probably a muffler delete and like spray painted taillights, like the red VHT. You know?
Okay.
And then, you grow out of that and you move on. The cars also had, if you count the stock, it's had 3 different sets of taillights on it. I had Valentis for a little bit, and I really like the Toms, which I also found secondhand because I guess they don't make the V1 anymore.
But there's an important message here, and it's the fact that he's kept the car. He's kept it since 2015, and instead of selling it and having to start over each time, he's just put more money into it, which, that's kind of a downer. Is it really a downer? No. Because if you buy a new car, then you're dumping even more money into that. And it's more of like you still learn, it's still a learning process, right?
Oh, yeah.
But you keep the car, you're not starting over. And if you feel like getting something new, you just throw more parts at it or turbo it or put a different wrap on it, right?
Correct. I mean, in the long run, if you're feeling sick of something or want to change something, it probably makes more financial sense to just do something different to your current car.
Yes.
If that current car is the right platform.
Now, you had this originally tuned. You did a unequal length header.
Yep.
Because we did a video a while back, like one of my first YouTube videos now.
The sound comparison.
The sound comparison of equal length versus unequal length. And if you guys watched that video, that was this car. Which is ironic because now that he's turbocharged, it's now an equal length setup.
Is.
So which minus the turbo, do you still prefer the unequal length sound?
Do
you miss it?
This might make some people mad, but I'd like to say I've grown up a little bit. But what I wanted to do when we did the turbo kit was basically set the car up for success in terms of like reliability in the long run. Thing is, if you're going to the trouble and cost of turboing something, you might as well just do it all right the first time, or as right as you can.
When you had the car NA, it was also on E85, correct?
Yeah, so it was on E85. It had a full exhaust with the unequal length header we talked about. It dynoed at 193 at the rear wheels on a really hot day.
Ooh.
It's been years.
Yeah.
So like if I seem like I don't know anything about my car, it's because a lot of this stuff was done a long time.
Right. I mean, it's just a number anyways, but a lot of people like to hear the numbers. So
yep. Full disclosure, the car has not been dynoed as it sits.
Okay.
There are people online with like, I think I even found a car that had like the same exhaust as me.
Yeah.
And the kit, and he made on E85 around like 320, 330.
Nice.
So
that sounds about right.
I don't know what it makes, but if we want to throw estimates around, that's the guess.
Do you know which size the turbo actually is on it?
I don't.
I remember looking it up when I installed the turbo kit, but I don't actually remember what it was. So I think it's like a 54 millimeter or 56 millimeter. I remember looking at it and saying, oh, that's similar to the size that I have going into my Z.
Sure.
So I know it's right around that mid 50s.
But you have 2 of those,
range.
Correct?
Yeah, but I have 2 of those and a little bit more displacement. And I remember you saying about the radium catch cans.
Yep.
So the radium catch cans, you emptied them out this morning. There's 2 of them. There's one
well,
there.
I attempted to empty them. There's nothing in them. It's been a year and there's nothing in the catch cans.
That's a solid motor. There's no blow by. That means the rings are seating well, 0 if little oil consumption. That's awesome. And you just changed the oil, right? And there wasn't everything looked good with that. So we're over here looking at the radium catch cans, and I've worked on this car. I didn't even realize this before, but TJ has something that just now caught my eye. And for those of you old school tuner heads, know this company and should know that they are no longer in business. How long ago did you get that, and how did you get it?
A few years ago, and it was just something that floated around online. They said they were doing like a closeout sale, and I was like, hey, this is really cheap for what it was. I don't even remember what it cost, but I know it was like worth it.
So Password JDM is a company that if you've been around for a while, you probably know them for their Honda stuff. This company used to sell full CRX SIR roof glass on their website. I remember like 2009, I see it. Back then, I was working minimum wage and I didn't have enough money, obviously, to spend $2,000 on roof glass. But now, at this day and age, that same roof glass is going for like $5,000 and $10,000. I dig it. I dig it. Do you still like it?
Of course.
Every day. I'm jealous because mine's still not turbo. And I told him after I did his kit, the next thing I get would be a turbo kit for my car, which I have yet to do. But instead, I finished my Nissan. So that's something. That's got to count for something, I guess.
It's funny how like normal the car is if I don't drive it like it's turbo.
Like it's turbo?
You know what I mean? Yeah.
It drives like a completely normal car.
It drives like it's NA if I don't act like, you know, an idiot. Like it's hard to do when, you know, you add power, but
it's there.
Such as life.
All you gotta do is push that throttle a little bit more. So how often do you drive the car?
Every day.
Basically like commute to and from work and all that stuff. Which is, how far do you have to go to work?
0.5 miles.
Nice.
It doesn't get up to temperature on a normal drive to work. So what I do is I literally like go out of my way to like, sometimes I'll go get breakfast or something like that just so the car can warm up.
Well, there's some pros to that because then you can just drive the car when you want to, how you want to. You get to actually enjoy it. It's not like, oh, I actually have to hop in the car and I have to drive my car.
I go to Miami for work probably like 3 or 4 times a year.
And that's what, about 3 to 4 hours from here?
Yeah.
So it's a 4-hour trip.
Yeah.
How many miles do you have on the car now?
Around 114K, I think.
114,000 miles on a boosted FRS. It's driven every day.
It's been boosted for about 6,000 miles.
Oh, but FRSs are unreliable. And they blow up every time you look at them weird.
A lot of like cars that have like a stigma for, you know, like blowing up because you did XYZ, like usually
it's the owner.
It is the owner.
Yeah.
More often than not.
Yeah. A lighter way of saying it, lack of knowledge of a platform.
I think that might be a harsher way of saying it.
Okay. Either way, it gets the point across.
No, I agree.
So how much boost is in this car now?
It's just wastegate pressure, 12.5 PSI.
And who tuned it?
That would be Zach at Counterspace Garage, Zach Tucker.
Nice. He does a lot of these, right?
He does, and that's why I went with him. The trade-off that I ended up taking was the guy is an expert with this car.
Right.
So, like, to me, that has more value.
He pretty much knew what to look for and what to ask of you.
Exactly. Right. I mean, he's done this a million times. I think when he sent me just the base tune for this car, which, you know, of course, I'm sure he perfected over a lot of cars.
Right.
It was already revised up to, like, I think version 7.